Hey everyone, Teo here. In this video, I'm comparing the Apple iPad Mini 7 from 2024 with the Apple Pencil against the Xiaomi Pad Mini released this month in September 2025 with the Xiaomi Focus Pen. First of all, disclaimer, this is a review unit provided by Xiaomi and this iPad mini was purchased with my own money. Oh, by the way, if you guys have intention to buy either of these tablets after watching my review, consider making your purchase through the affiliate links that I have in the video description below to support my YouTube channel. And if you happen to be buying from Shopee Singapore, I believe they have some good discounts. So straight up, I'm just going to tell you the bottom line. The hardware for the Xiaomi Pad Mini is better in many ways. So the main selling point of the iPad mini is actually iPad OS. Oh, another noticeable advantage of the iPad mini is the Apple Pencil Pro performance is much better for drawing compared to the Xiaomi Focus Pen. So that's the quick overview. All right, let's talk about the details of everything. Let's talk about the design first. So the iPad mini comes with an 8.3-inch LCD and the Xiaomi Pad mini comes with an 8.8-inch LCD. Both tablets are compact, portable and easy to bring around, and you can hold them easily and comfortably with just one hand. The weight of the iPad mini is 297 grams without the case and the pen. And the weight of the Xiaomi Pad Mini is 326 grams, so this is just slightly heavier, but it also has a bigger display. Both tablets are quite thin, and the build quality for both tablets is really good. Both tablets have a portrait camera, and on the iPad Mini, this is a 12 megapixel f2.4 camera with auto brightness, which works quite well. There is no face unlock. On the Xiaomi tablet, this is an 8 megapixel f2.3 camera, also with auto brightness, which works quite well, and there is face unlock. So the hardware for the portrait camera is better on the iPad mini. The iPad mini has a fingerprint scanner on the power button for unlocking, and this is more secure and can be used with apps that require high security, such as banking apps. Whereas for the Xiaomi Pad Mini, it's face unlock, which is not a secure type, so you can't use that to unlock banking apps. Bezels for both tablets are quite thin, thinner on the Xiaomi tablet, and the corners for both tablets are rounded off, including the LCD. On the back, we have the metal body, and both are matte textured. The main camera on the iPad mini is 12 megapixel f1.8 and the camera on the Xiaomi is 30 megapixel f2.2. So the camera quality is actually slightly better with the iPad mini because of the f1.8 aperture. The iPad mini has 4 sets of speaker grills but only 2 speakers, and the audio quality is good. The audio is loud, clear, and there is good stereo effect. And this is a USB-C with 3.1 Gen 2 transfer speed, and this can output video. Charging speed is up to 20 watt. On the Xiaomi tablet, there are 2 sets of speaker grills. Audio quality is good, audio is loud, clear, and there is good stereo. The USB-C port here has USB 2 transfer speed, and the charging speed is up to 67 watt with the included Xiaomi charger. This Xiaomi tablet actually has 2 USB-C ports, one here and the other one is here, and this one here has USB 3.2 transfer speed and can charge up to 67 watt as well with the included Xiaomi charger. But if you use third-party GAN charger, then the charging speed is around 30 watt. And this one here can output video. One feature that the Xiaomi tablet has that's really nice is haptic feedback. So when you type, you can feel the tablet vibrate slightly, and the vibration affects the whole tablet and feels great. But of course, if you don't want the vibration, you can always disable it. Anyway, both tablets look good from the front. Oh, almost forgot to mention this side here where you can attach the Apple Pencil magnetically for charging and Bluetooth pairing. And when you attach the Apple Pencil, there will be a pop-up to tell you how much battery life is left in the pen. And on the Xiaomi tablet, the Xiaomi Focus Pen attaches here not in the center, it's a bit lower. And same thing, there will be a pop-up that appears to tell you how much battery life is left in the pen. Okay, let's talk about the display. So this iPad mini has an 8.3-inch IPS LCD, and Xiaomi Pad Mini has an 8.8-inch IPS LCD. Now, at first glance, the Xiaomi Pad Mini display is actually brighter to me. And the iPad Mini display, even though it's rated at 500 nits, for some reason it has never looked that bright. Alright, let's talk more about the displays. The iPad Mini has an 8.3-inch IPS LCD and the resolution is 1488 by 2266. The PPI is 327. And on the Xiaomi Pad Mini, this is an 8.8-inch IPS LCD. The resolution is 1880 by 3008. The PPI is 403. So the pixel density is higher on the Xiaomi tablet and the visuals look really sharp. But the visuals also look sharp on the iPad mini. Pixelation is not noticeable on both tablets. The aspect ratio for the display on the Xiaomi tablet is 16:10. So in portrait orientation, this tablet will look taller. Now, when you are watching shows on the Xiaomi tablet, there will be smaller black bars. So let me show you what I mean. Let me zoom in. The aspect ratio for the iPad mini display is 3:2, so there are actually thicker black bars. But the video size is actually quite similar, just slightly bigger on the Xiaomi tablet. The advertised brightness for the display on the iPad mini is 500 nits, but in real life this looks more like a 300 to 400 nits display to me. So at maximum brightness it is bright enough, but when you use auto brightness I find that sometimes, actually most of the time, the brightness is lower than what I would prefer. The one thing that I do like about the iPad mini display is the anti-reflective coating, which is quite effective. So when there are strong reflections on the display, you can still see through the reflection to see what's on the display. So this anti-reflective coating is a huge selling point for me. It's a really good feature, but the display is just not as bright compared to the Xiaomi Pad Mini display, which has an advertised brightness of 700 nits. And with auto brightness, this looks brighter compared to the iPad mini display. 700 nits makes the Xiaomi Pad Mini more usable outdoors, but one thing I don't like about this display is it's very reflective and the reflections can be quite glaring. So when there are reflections on the Xiaomi display, it's difficult to see what's on the display. But on the iPad mini, the reflections are not as glaring. But when you're using this outdoors under bright conditions, the brightness is not high enough. So there are pros and cons to each display, but obviously having high brightness is better unless you use your tablet outdoors most of the time, in which case both tablets are not ideal for use outdoors under really bright conditions. Refresh rate of the Xiaomi display is up to 165 Hz, and with the iPad mini it's 60 Hz, which is, wow, how should I put it, miserable by today's standard considering the price of the tablet. So with a high refresh rate display, you get smooth animation for pan, zoom and rotate. So when you're scrolling, it does not look as choppy. And also when scrolling on the iPad mini, there is the jelly screw effect. On the Xiaomi tablet, I don't see that. So when you zoom in and out, the animation is really smooth, but is a bit choppy with the iPad mini. So when you open an app, as the app zooms in, the animation is so much smoother on the Xiaomi tablet. As I scroll left and right, Yeah, the animation is so smooth on the Xiaomi tablet. So the extra smoothness makes the iPad mini feel less responsive. And that's the thing with the iPad mini. People have been complaining about the 60 Hz refresh rate for many years, but it's still stuck at 60. Whereas for Android tablets, even budget Android tablets nowadays have high refresh rate displays. Okay, next let's talk about OS. So iPad uses iPad OS, and there is the Apple App Store with, well, a huge variety of apps. And with the Xiaomi Pad Mini, this is the global version with support for Google Play Store, so there is a huge variety of apps as well. Now, for drawing purposes, since I draw on my tablet, I would say both are evenly matched in terms of the variety of capable drawing apps you can get from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. But with the iPad mini, you actually get more design apps. Anyway, you probably won't be doing much design work on this tablet because it's a small display. For design work, it's best to use a larger display, 11-inch or larger. But for drawing purposes, actually both displays are good sizes for drawing. Both OS, iPad OS and Xiaomi Hyper OS have many features, so it's impossible for me to cover all the features. The main thing I want to talk about is how many years of OS updates you will get. So with the Xiaomi tablet, you will get like many years of updates. I do not have a number of the years, but the thing is, with Apple, you will get many years. I have an iPad Pro from 2018 that is still getting OS updates today, 7 years later. At the time of review, the Xiaomi tablet is running on Xiaomi Hyper OS version 2 on top of Android 15, and I do not have information regarding how many years of OS and security updates you can get with this Xiaomi Pad Mini. But with the Xiaomi Pad 7 tablet that I have reviewed a few months ago, that tablet will get 4 years of OS updates and 6 years of security updates. So the Xiaomi Pad Mini may get the same number of years of updates. Let's talk about performance, and the first thing I want to say is I do not have any benchmarks for you. I'm just talking about my user experience with both tablets. So the iPad mini has 8 gigs of RAM, and the processor is the Apple A17 Pro processor, which is considered a mid-range processor when compared to other Apple processors, such as the Apple M series processors, which are significantly more powerful than the A series, or at least the A17 Pro processor here. But the performance that you can get with this iPad mini is like fast, responsive, and smooth. It is very difficult to make this tablet lag. I have never been able to make this tablet lag, so you can expect really fast performance with the iPad mini. Now with the Xiaomi Pad Mini, you get 12 gigs of RAM, and the processor is the MediaTek Dimensity 9400 Plus, which is one of the top of the line processors right now. So you can expect responsive, fast, and smooth performance here as well. Now both tablets will be able, the performance of both tablets will be easily last for at least 5 years, 5 to 10 years. The battery will deteriorate earlier compared to when the tablets will start to lag. So they are expensive tablets, but they will last for many years. So I don't have any issues with performance. And with 8 gigs of RAM or 12 gigs of RAM, you can have many apps in memory. You can create many layers when you're drawing, so no issues with memory management and overall performance. Apps are able to load quickly on both tablets, and the download speed for Wi-Fi is really quick as well. And when loading huge games, well, both tablets can load huge games pretty quickly. This is Genshin Impact, it's a huge game, and this can load pretty quickly. The design of the Xiaomi tablet is actually better for gaming because the USB-C port, there is one USB-C port here, so when you hold the tablet like this for gaming, you can connect the cable here to charge the tablet. But on the iPad, you have to connect the cable here if you want to charge the tablet while you game at the same time. So with the cable coming out here, it can be a bit difficult to hold the tablet. You can expect smooth gaming performance with both tablets, no issues. Let's talk about drawing experience. Both pens support tilt, pressure sensitivity, and palm rejection. However, tilt does not work as well with the Xiaomi Focus pen. Let me show you. Let me choose a soft pencil brush. So I'm holding the pen vertically. I can press down hard for darker lines. Pressure works well. If I tilt the pen at a lower angle, you can see tilt works sometimes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. Let me try again. So this is me holding at a low angle. Yeah, so sometimes it works, sometimes it does not work. And when you have a pen performing like this is inconsistent performance. This is unpredictable performance, so it makes tilt brushes unusable. Now on the iPad mini with Apple Pencil Pro, I'm going to choose the same soft pencil brush as well. So let me hold the pen vertically first. Let me increase the line width so that you can see properly. This is with pressure. Now the line is darker. And now I'm going to hold the pen low. And you can see the tilt. Okay. And tilt works. Not like this. So let me hold it vertically and then tilt at an angle. Vertical, tilt, vertical, tilt. Works as expected. Now with the Xiaomi pen, vertical, tilt, vertical, tilt. Yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it does not work. Pressure actually works fine on the Xiaomi tablet. So I can draw thin and thick lines easily, no issues there. On the iPad mini, same thing, you can draw thin and thick lines easily. Let's check the initial activation force and the slow diagonal lines. So on the Xiaomi tablet, I'm going to draw some slow diagonal lines. And I can see slight wobble and jitter. This is actually not too bad. Oops. Yeah. This, believe me or not, is actually not too bad because there are actually pens that will give you very noticeable wobble. So here, there is slight wobble and jitter. Now, with the Apple Pencil, I'm going to draw slow diagonal lines as well. Initial activation force for both pens is low. So you can draw thin lines very easily, even with a thick brush selected. So on the iPad mini, there is also some wobble and jitter. Let's take a look at this sketch that I have drawn with my 2018 iPad Pro with Apple Pencil 2 while I'm outdoors. So the pen performance with the various Apple Pencils, Apple Pencil 1, 2, and Apple Pencil Pro is the same. So that's one nice thing. You can switch between different tablets with compatible pens and expect the same experience. So with Apple Pencil 2, this is the line art that I have created, which is the same line quality that you will get with Apple Pencil Pro. I was able to get thin lines, thick lines, expressive lines. There are some diagonal lines. There are a few diagonal lines. I don't see noticeable diagonal line wobble. There is some wobble with my hand. You can see even for this vertical line, it's not completely straight. There is some wobble. But I don't really see the mechanical line wobble with Apple Pencil. So the line quality you can get from this pen is actually quite accurate. It's predictable and consistent. So this was drawn outdoors. On the Xiaomi tablet, the Xiaomi Pad Mini, I can get thin lines and thick lines as well. If I zoom in close, okay, I can see some diagonal line wobble now. Yeah, but I don't really see that with the Apple Pencil. So sometimes the line test may not be representative of the actual drawing experience, but it's not that obvious here. So as I zoom out, the diagonal line wobble is not that obvious. I can get thin and thick lines. I can also get tapered strokes like this. Yeah, for this app, it's difficult to taper the stroke, but you can actually taper the stroke. Let me show you. You can actually taper the stroke by using pressure instead of drawing like this. Yeah, so if I draw like this, it doesn't taper, even with the iPad. But for this app, I can use pressure to get tapered strokes like this. And here, my sketching style is very loose and sketchy, so sometimes the diagonal line wobble may be camouflage. Let me disable the colors. So here you can see the lines are quite straight. There is some wobble here, maybe some here. Let's look at the head. This is, I would say, straight enough. I can get thin and thick lines. So pressure is not an issue with the Xiaomi tablet, with the Xiaomi pen. It's just that tilt is an issue. And palm rejection for both tablets work really well. Yeah, so I actually have no issues with drawing on the Xiaomi tablet. It's just that sometimes I use tilt brushes, and since tilt does not perform as well, I cannot use tilt brushes when drawing, at least with this app concepts. For writing and note-taking, both tablets work really well. So writing works fine on the iPad mini, and palm rejection works fine. And on the Xiaomi tablet, oops, wrong spelling. Writing also works fine. Latency is not an issue when writing or drawing on both tablets. The last thing I want to talk about is battery life. Battery capacity of the iPad mini is 5078 mAh, and for the Xiaomi Pad Mini, it's 7500. So this has noticeably higher battery capacity. Now with the iPad mini, I can get around 8 hours of battery life with auto brightness and journal usage. With the Xiaomi tablet, I can get around 12 hours of battery life easily with auto brightness. So the battery life of the Xiaomi tablet is noticeably longer. Having high battery capacity has two advantages. The first is you get longer battery life. The second is, because you get longer battery life, you don't have to charge the tablet as often, so you will not run up the charge cycles as much. And because of that, you will not deteriorate the battery as much. So the battery in this tablet is actually going to last a few years longer compared to the battery in the iPad mini, because the battery life is shorter, so you have to charge more often, and that will run up the charge cycle more often and cause the battery to deteriorate faster. So in a few years' time, you may be looking at 6 instead of 8 hours of battery life with the iPad mini, and with the Xiaomi tablet, you may be looking at 10 instead of 12 hours. So yeah, the battery life advantage goes with the Xiaomi tablet. Alright, to conclude, as mentioned earlier, you get better hardware with the Xiaomi tablet, with the exception of the camera and the very reflective display. The advantage with the iPad is iPad OS will get you many years of updates, and Apple Pencil performance is more accurate and consistent. So which tablet do you prefer? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope this review is useful. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video. Bye.